I do know that, I forgot what I was saying, but anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast, episode number 48, gentlemen. How are you in the new year?
Guys, Happy New Year. 48.
Yes.
I'm still really excited for episode 52. That'll be like an official year of pods. Not that I'm not excited about episode 48, because something tells me we're going to have a heated conversation, and something tells me it's coming. I'm excited. But thanks to everybody for being here. Happy New Year. And guys, let's get on with this, because I think this is going to be a good one.
Let's do this. Never having a whatnot auction. I thought you had to list, and you can do this, list each individual thing, or you can group them. And I put them in a lot of 15. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't, so yeah, there's two general ways you can set your show up. You can either like create a listing for each item that specifically says what it is, just like if you were listing it on eBay or somewhere else. The Hulk Hogan figurine, Bret Hart figurine, whatever on down the line. Or you can just say wrestling figurine and create a quantity of 15. So then if you do sell any and you go to ship them, it's obviously easier if you put them in individually, because then there's no question who bought it, because it's going to tell you,
right.
Joe Smith bought the Hulk Hogan figurine, this guy bought the next figurine. If you just call them all wrestling figurines, then it's going to just say, everybody bought a wrestling figurine. So when you do shows that way, you've got to have sticky notes or something to actually, write the person's name down who bought it, and then put it with that figure so you know what goes with what. Like, that's what I did when I did my show Friday. I just called everything like random ephemerolite. I didn't say this was a Charleston postcard, a Nashville postcard, on down the line. It just said random ephemerolite. So whenever anybody won, I had to write their name on a sticky and put it with that. So then I could match it up when the show is over.
Well, I couldn't figure out, though, where you go in and you put each one of them in individually. I tried that, and it's very confusing to me. Of course,
Yeah.
I mean, where do you go in and list each thing individually? And does it let you build a list?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a couple ways you can do it, but the easiest way is just once you create your show, then you go in, there's a little plus thing down in the bottom right-hand corner, and, you say add a new item.
That.
And you choose auction, and then you put in you can take a picture. It'll ask, the new thing, it asks you want to create a temporary listing or a quality listing. I don't know if you saw that. And really the only difference is a temporary listing doesn't have pictures, a quality listing does. And like a quality listing, when the show ends, it'll still be in your catalog and you could carry it to the next show. Or if you say temporary listing, all those just disappear when the show's over. But yeah, it should be when you click that plus, it just lets you add everything. And you would put a quantity of 1 if you're going to list things, specifically like Hulk Hogan figurine. And then you would go do the next one. You'd basically have to do it 15 times if you were listing everything individually, or, you could just do it once and put a quantity of 15 in. But then it's just going to say wrestling figurine or something like that.
Right. So for me, my purpose, I guess I should go in then and list.
Yeah, for 15 items like that, it wouldn't have taken very long, and that would allow people to. The benefit to that, especially with something like wrestling figurines, is people might be looking for a certain one. That way, they can go to your catalog and see you have it and stick around, or put a pre-bid in, or something like that. So.
Right.
Hey,
Johnny, how are you, my friend?
Are we talking whatnot?
Yeah,
we were talking whatnot.
He did a whatnot show today for 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
Lasted all of 7 minutes.
The story of your life, buddy.
So, it crashed and burned like my Pittsburgh Steelers are doing right now. So, but in order to get started, what do you have to do?
Yeah.
You have to get started, man. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Stick your toe in, give it a try. I didn't do so well, didn't sell anything. But I wasn't on there long because I couldn't figure out. I had it in a bulk listing, John. That's what I was talking to Stuart about. I couldn't figure out how to list. I had like 15 of my wrestling figurines, and I was just going to try to do each one, but I wanted to list them individually, but I couldn't figure out how to do that.
Oh,
so,
you saw all that money Stuart was making and was like, I've got to get in on this.
Well, I decided in 2025, I'm going to push myself a little bit more, step out and branch out a little bit more. I may even try Depop, boys.
Oh,
well, what are you willing to try in 2025? Come on. Since we are in the new year now, this is our first episode in 2025.
I know we're supposed to be all reborn, right?
I guess. Brand new baby out here. Here we go.
Well,
I just got to find a way to pocket off that postcard money. That's where the real money's at.
Well, as long as I have postcards to sell, then I'm going to try to be consistent on Whatnot. Now, that is, I think I said it last week. One of my goals is to get back to being consistent on Whatnot, but that does, mean I have to find the right kind of inventory, which I've been real fortunate, and I've got enough to last me probably 4 or 5 more shows, but, that means I've got to get on the ball and dig up some more inventory between now and when that stuff runs out, which is, easier said than done. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely helped me get off to a good start in January.
Well, if anybody out there that's watching this and you have a comment and you want to tell me about Whatnot, let me know, because I'm trying to get it started. I'm gonna try show 2 again real soon, but I've got to go back and probably individually list. But I need some help on the front end to try to do it.
Well, hey Wes, let me know when you're going to go, and I can come in the show, and I can help you.
Okay.
Try to walk you through it. And people are real understanding when you're first getting started. So if people come in, and between us and the crowd, we can get it done.
Right. Well, is that kind of like being a moderator? Is that what that is?
Well, no. The moderator wouldn't let me do anything for you. It just lets you like kick people out of the show, like if there's somebody coming in being rude, or it lets you do things like that, but I can't like add listings or anything like that for you. So I would just be able to talk you through it. But also, if you want, before you do a show, we can get together and I can share a screen and kind of show you how to do it. There's actually multiple ways to do it. You can create your show, and then you can use your computer, the Seller Hub, I think it's called, to add them that way, or you can just add them directly into the show using your phone. So I do kind of a combination of both, depending on what I'm listing.
Well, yeah, I would definitely appreciate the knowledge on how to do that, because it's just like you got your eyes closed and you're doing like this. See, like I'm trying to be better, trying to do better. I'm trying to join you guys and up my resale game.
And I know going back to when I started on Whatnot, I don't know about you, Johnny, but I'd done 0 live selling in my life and really hadn't been in front of the camera to speak of. And so you're trying to get over that nervousness and, just the fact you got people watching you while you're trying to do stuff. And it makes it more difficult because you feel like, I got to get this stuff going because people are waiting. And, and it is it's a reality of our world that people have short attention spans. So,
yeah. Well, I told everybody, I said, hey guys, this is my very first show. I've got a lot of glitches and I'm trying. And so I just went ahead and ended it. And I said, I'll be back. So what do you do? I'll be back. Like, give me a timeout. I need a timeout. Give me a timeout. So, Johnny,
I remember when we did our first show, we ran our first auction and nobody bid, but we didn't know what was going on. So we thought it was glitching, but really nobody was bidding. Nobody wanted anything.
That's probably what happened to me too.
And so we're like, sorry guys, we're having technical difficulties. And everybody in the chat's like, no, you're good here. You're good here.
You're good. Like, we're just not buying. I ran one thing.
I do think the hardest thing, especially if you're trying to do it by yourself, because I've done it both ways. Amy helps some shows if I do things on the weekends, but usually I'm doing it solo. But, you've got to, nothing is going to chase an audience away quicker than just silence. So you're sitting there trying to work on stuff, but at the same time, you need to be engaging and, giving some banter with the audience. So it's hard to do both. And it's just, because people pop in, and if there's nothing happening, they're going to pop right back out.
Yeah.
So it's.
Well, I was talking to them. I was letting them know, hey, I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. But I didn't stay long with it. I just said, cut my losses and we'll back up and try again. So, but I thanked everybody that came in. I was reading their names off. Hey, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you guys. I've seen enough of these to know, and I'm not really worried about, like you said, Stuart. I think all three of us have gotten really good at talking in front of the camera now. Yeah. So that wasn't an issue for me. An issue for me was, am I doing this right? It's kind of like when we go live, we sit there for a minute going, is this running? Mm-hmm. Are we live? What's going on?
Yeah. So. And the other thing you can do, Wes, is you can mark a show as private. So like if you wanted to just create a show, you click the private button when you set it up, and then nobody can see it. But if you send somebody the link, they can still get to it. So we could do that too. You could just set up.
Oh, that would be cool.
Send me the link.
Do like a little test run.
Run. You just tell me what I'm doing wrong, or let's do that. I would like to do that.
Okay.
I didn't know you could do that. Cool.
Maybe we can get on StreamYard while we're doing it and record it for like some bonus content or something.
So, sure.
I don't know if that'll be exciting enough to be a regular episode, but you can.
But I'm sure there's people out there who may be thinking about wanting to get on Whatnot, like me.
Well, I can share my screen, and between we might can turn it into a how-to for people wanting to get started on Whatnot. So, or we can go live and watch you fumble through it that way. So,
but anyway, 2025, I'm get out of my comfort zone a little bit and see what I can do even more as I'm diving further into the resale world. Do you all have any plans like that, or what are you going to continue in 2025?
I always try to find a new revenue stream. I've struggled to find like a new one for this year. I think my plan's just to try to jump back into Whatnot. And my plan right now is I'm going to go live every Friday at 1 p.m. Try to be on there every Friday at 1. And I think I'm just 2 weeks in a row now for Friday at 1. But I know the last show, I had 20-something people in there, which for me is pretty good. I think I went 3 hours and had over 20 people, probably 75% of the time. And then even when I didn't, it was more like 12, 13, 14. So I'm just curious to see if I can be on at 1 every Friday. Will that lead to, having a lot of the same people come back, because they know I'm on and they like what I bring, whatever the reasons are. But as I mentioned a minute ago, the biggest challenge is just going to be, and it's the challenge in general with Whatnot. When you start, you can do really well, but it's, you're only as good as what you found yesterday, and you can roll through stuff so quickly that you quickly get to where you just don't have good quality stuff to bring. And I've been really fortunate. I had that farmhouse where I met that guy, and have been getting all the different ephemera postcards and other ephemera from him for these shows, and that's worked out really well. But last time Amy and I went up there, we've been twice now. I'm not going to say there's not any more, because this place is like, it's hard to even describe how full the place is. So I'm sure we can go dig in more corners and find some stuff, but I do feel like we found a good portion of it anyway. He does have some more postcards that he mentioned. He was probably going to maybe try to sell them out of his booth, but I'm hoping that, maybe he'll change his mind. I told him to call me if he changes his mind, and then I'd be willing to buy him. But, that's probably going to be my biggest challenge to staying consistent. Can I just keep that inventory coming in that, I can sell? So.
Yeah. And I think that was the biggest challenge. When we decided to leave Whatnot, I think that was one of the factors, was like finding quality. Like the heyday of Whatnot, you could sell anything. Just like you would throw like, oh, I'm either going to redonate it or I'll sell it on Whatnot. And then all of a sudden, quality started to be more of a thing, which is great. I mean, you can't blame people. But then you're like, oh my God, I have a show tomorrow and I have like 4 things. And so you'd go out and buy or just however to try to get more stuff. And then it kind of became a stressor a little bit.
Yeah.
And so when you started to get less money, but you had to put more effort in, it was like, oh man, I'll just list these or not buy these.
Well, and the other thing I'm doing, like one of my other big things that chased me away from Whatnot is, I mean, all my shows, I was doing like catalog shows. If I had 50 items to sell, I was listing all 50 of those as an individual item, which is great. I mean, it means people can see what you have and they can pre-bid and they can do all that, but it takes up a huge amount of time to set that show up. Well, with this ephemera, I think for the last show, I cataloged 10 items that I wanted to make sure. I mean, they were things that I thought people might be interested in. So at least people could see those 10 items specifically I had. There were some World War II pictures. There were some scrapbooks, things like that. But everything else, I just put in a quantity of 100 general ephemera items and then just pulled stuff out and sold it under that bucket. And as I was telling Wes a minute ago before you came on, the only challenge in that is you got to make sure you're organized and write down. Don't forget to write down who bought that, because there's really no easy way to tell. I guess you could go back and watch your show, but still it's going to be hard to tell who bought what if you're not labeling it at the time itself. So knock on wood, so far I don't think I've ever screwed up an order and doing those kind of shows, because if you catalog it, it's real easy, because then it just goes in your Wes bought the Dollywood mug, Johnny bought the glass pumpkin or whatever. But I'm looking at things on my desk that I have sitting in front of me.
So when you do go to run that, like if you have them all cataloged, it would bring your first item over and you hit start.
Yeah, you do what's called pin it. Or, you don't have to run them in any order. You can run any order you want. So the way I run my shows, Wes, is I have my phone on like a tripod, and then I have a laptop next to me open to the show as well. It's just the main things, you got to make sure you only start the show from your phone. You don't want to click start show from your laptop, because the start show just means that's where the camera's going to run. And then you make sure you turn the volume down on the other device, but it knows that you're logged in, and you can still do all the same things. Like you can pin items from your catalog. You can start your giveaways if you decide to do those. You can chat over there. It's just easier to look at that screen than it is to see things on your phone when you're old and blind. So
where I'm at right now.
Yeah. But so that's worked well for me, that kind of 2-device setup. I mean, I think a lot of people just run them just off their phones and do fine, and I could probably do that if I had to, but yeah, that's the general way I do shows.
Whatnot in 2025. Oh boy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, if how the platform continues to evolve and grow. And I mean, I do feel like that there's been more new buyers coming in. I think my last show, in fact, I had 18 different buyers, and I think 10 of them were first-time buyers.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Over half.
Stuart, do you think that Wes is trying to make more money or avoid repainting the kitchen?
I noticed the swatches aren't up anymore.
Oh, they've been moved over to the living room now. So I think she's expanding her. And she has made a couple little comments. Getting ready to start painting real soon. There's no avoiding it.
Sorry, honey, I can't. I have a show tonight.
I'm in the middle of a Whatnot show right now.
Well, she knows about my first show now. She's like, I'll see you in 3 minutes. We're going to get started. But now I can say at least tried Whatnot. I've tried. Okay. Now, Stuart, if you can give me the guidance that you're offering, I think I can do it.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. So we'll just have to find a time that works.
Did you guys get snow today?
Not anything to speak of. There was a little bit of slush this morning on the deck, but
I didn't even get that.
It was all pretty much north of here.
Yeah.
We got a little blanket this afternoon.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Cool. They're talking about maybe something here. What, on Friday, Stuart? Another storm coming
Yeah,
through?
maybe.
I don't know.
I know it's getting really cold. I think Wednesday the low's like 12 or something crazy
Right.
like that.
Visit Knoxville.com for the tropical conditions, even during the blizzard. I like that.
Even during the blizzard, come on down, folks. You'll be nice and balmy conditions here in Knoxville.
Speaking of weather, is there any easier job than being a weather person? Because don't they just go to the like master forecast that whoever puts out, look at it, and then just parrot it back to the people?
So I have this curious thought on weather. Like, can't you just project weather forever?
I mean, I guess.
Like, theoretically, like you would see how pressures come and then what they would do and what they would create. And then, like, couldn't you just know weather forever?
Well, but you can also do this. You can make your prediction, and then you come back in when it doesn't pan out. Well, we had a shift in the the jet stream. It pushed forward a little bit more, you know.
I don't know about North Carolina, but at least here in Knoxville, here's what the local forecasters do. You know, I think there's like 8 different computer models. You know, there's I don't remember the names of them, but there's all these different models, and they pick whichever one shows the greatest chance for snow, because snow means ratings. I mean, if they mention the word snow, I mean, everybody's tuned in. And then, of course, the grocery stores are paying them off to mention the word snow. Because I don't know about where you live, but if they mention the word snow, there'll be no milk, egg, or bread on the shelves. And I'm always thinking, how long do you think they're calling for flurries? How long do you think it's going to be before you can come out again? It's crazy.
You better run out, Johnny, get that eggs and milk.
It is. It's insane here. And especially like coming from like the snow capital of the world, like just how people react so differently, you know?
I bet you walk outside and you're like, it's an inch of snow. What do we do?
And it's crazy because like it won't even, like it'll hit like the asphalt and just melt immediately. Right. But like everyone is in panic. But like, I mean, we used to ride
people up in Buffalo. Snow. Hey, come on down to the stadium and dig out these 2 foot of snow out of the stands. Come help us. Bring your own shovel.
You know, and I do get when we do get a snow event, I mean, there's not a snow plow to be found within, 100 miles of Knoxville. So if it does snow, we can't do anything with it. So, there is that part.
Well, the part that I understand is like back in the mountain areas, it gets pretty bad on some of those back roads up in those mountains. So that's generally what causes a lot of problems for East Tennessee people or Appalachian Mountain people, I guess.
Well, you're right. Even Knox County has, it stretches kind of up into some really semi-mountainous areas. So, they'll close schools, and you're like, man, there's not a snowflake on even the ground. Yeah. The county's so different and they don't have the city and county schools like they used to. It's just all Knox County. They used to could close the city or close the county schools, but leave the city schools open. Y'all been busy listing this week? Is that one of your resolutions to list more?
I've listed 5 every day.
Cool. So you're still sticking with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to do when we get off here. If you could see me, I'm just surrounded by stuff. We could play Would You Ship That? Like, I've got this to list.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And especially come here in about 14 days, I think it's the 19th when the new rates go into place. I heard they're going to go up about an average of maybe 2.5% on Priority Mail and Ground Advantage, which I don't know, some people are talking like the sky's falling if you get on the Facebook groups. I mean, if you think about it, that means if you sell something for $10, what is that? 20 cents, more in shipping. Well, no, if it was going to cost you $10 to ship it, now it's going to cost $10.20. So, I mean, it's not as bad as you think it is. And I have also found, I've started using that one UPS class more because it's, what's it called?
The SurePost?
Yeah, the SurePost. Now, the only thing you got to be careful with UPS is if you're on the border of dimensional weight, like if it's if you're a smaller box, it's fine, 10 by 8 by 6, any of those that if you miss it by an inch, it's not going to matter. But if you're at 16 by 12 by 8 and like they measured as 17, they're really, I guess bad's the word about, you know, you that upcharge later. So you do have to consider that. But I mean, most of what I ship's usually in a box that if they add an inch to it because it's puffed out a little bit or something, it's not going to bump me into dimensional weight. But that is, and USPS can do that too. They just don't seem, their equipment doesn't seem to be quite as accurate, I guess, or so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. One thing I was curious with, like the post office, is when, because I know it, you know, obviously it goes to the warehouse or whatever. Like, I mean, I guess not everything gets checked. It's just if they're eyeing it and think it might. Yeah. Just because of how inconsistent it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I asked one guy at the post office one day, like, what's the, like, if I drop it off here, what's kind of the path? You know, where does it first get scanned? Y'all scan it here at all? And, you know, he said it was really just hit or miss on whether they scanned it there, that, you know, it would probably get scanned at the Weisgarber post office, which is the main post office for Knoxville. But I know during the holiday, they told me there that there's a good chance they wouldn't scan it there either. So I guess that means they don't have the automatic scanning that as things go through on the conveyor belt. But then I've also been told like certain size packages get auto scan, but like really small ones or really large ones don't. They, you know, they got to be manually scanned. So they're more likely to not get scanned to somewhere down the road. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of try to here lately, like Whatnot I like because it's real easy to do a scan sheet. So I always do scan sheets on Whatnot because I usually package it all in the same day. eBay, to do a scan sheet, you have to use that bulk shipping tool, and it's just more hassle than it's worth. So I've gotten now where if the lines, when I drive to the post office, if there's no cars, I'll go ahead and take it in and have them do a hand scan. I don't need a receipt. They just can use the little hand scanner and do it real quick. If it's real crowded, I just go in and put it in the loading dock and keep my fingers crossed. So, and I mean, it's already picked back up as far as things getting scanned quicker. I mean, it was really just, it's that 2 weeks before Christmas where, I mean, you know, I had those 30 packages that they all showed up eventually, but it did ding. I mean, my eBay shipping's like at late shipping rates at 2.77 now, which I think 3% where you lose your top rated.
Yeah, and we had those UPS SurePosts and that we accidentally dropped off at the post office, and those ended up getting to the buyer, so we were quite relieved on that. But the only reason that I don't use the scan sheets is because we also have the Poshmark and Mercari orders that don't have a scan sheet, and I'm worried that they won't scan Posh, like our Posh orders, if we give them, you know what I mean, if they already think that they scanned everything. Yeah,
and I only do a scan sheet for my Whatnot shows. So, I mean, and I'll tend to try to keep those a little separate and just, you know which ones. And you can tell real quickly looking at the labels too. So,
yeah.
But like I said, normally, 99% of the time, I don't even worry about getting an initial scan. I just throw it in the bin in the back of the post office. And I mean, they did tell me that's the most efficient way because then they're not even touching it at that post office. It just goes directly on the semi or whatever truck they use to take it to the main place. So, and it has worked.
We did have a post office scare this weekend that was quickly corrected, thankfully. So Lizzie sold a Louis Vuitton bag. It was like a little crossbody, and it sold for $300, and we shipped it. And the lady messaged us on Friday and said, "Hey, this package shows that it was delivered to a PO box, but she's like, I don't have a PO box." And we were like, oh my God, no, like it can't just be like a $12 item. It's like our $300 item. And she's like, I put in a claim. Like, can you put in a claim as well? She was nice about it, but you that's a decent amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. So we're like, dear God. The next day, Saturday, she messages us and is like, got it, all good. Oh, Thank
You're
God.
just like,
But we were like, why? I wonder why it showed delivered at a P.O. box.
They probably they probably pushed a button wrong when they scanned it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had a delivery scan show up the first day I took something to the post office because I guess they have to. I guess it's not just automatic; they have to pick what they're doing.
Yeah.
mhm.
And then you'll have somebody. This says it was delivered, and it hasn't gotten here yet. Well, overall, I guess the one I don't use at all is FedEx because they ticked me off several years ago with some really big overcharges. But I've had really good success with UPS and the USPS. I don't have any real complaints about either one. I mean, they both seem to get, to be honest, when you think about how much volume of stuff they get from here to there, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, there's two reasons why I grabbed these at the Habitat Restore over here. Maryville. They sell their hats for $2 a piece.
Okay.
And this lady just come out of the back with a big old cart full of stuff. Well, I start digging. I said, "Do you mind if I jump in here?" She's like, "No, go ahead." Keeps me from having to put it out. I said, "All right." So first of all, you need to hit you with this. Go ahead and say it again.
Visit Knoxville.com.
On the back of it, here you go, Stuart. There's your little
checkerboard.
Yep. And then they had this one in there. Pretty cool. Checkerboard on the back of that one.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody obviously was a Michigan fan because we got the big house.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Nike?
Yes, Nike. But most of them, check these out. Titleist.
There you go.
Titleist hats. But yeah, there was several of them, and I just kept pulling them. But somebody had this is another Michigan. All of them are just Titleist.
Oh, that's really sharp.
Yeah, so I was just grabbing all of them. But the last one that was really cool, I think this is a big sombrero one.
Oh,
yeah,
that's Stuart speed right there.
Yeah, that's you, Stu. Your beard, you can just put that on, a little golf hat. But you never know when you go in places like that. $2 a hat, that's easy breezy,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So
when we were in Indy, we stopped at a thrift store. It wasn't a Goodwill, but they had some marked at $10. And I was like, good Lord. And I get people sell used hats on eBay for $10. It was just really weird to see in a store.
Well, aren't some of your videos like you and your wife are putting out, you're talking about Goodwill and how things have been changing, and
it's awful. I mean, we're lucky, knock on wood, that here in North Carolina, they pull stuff, but they don't pull everything, and things make it to the floor, which is cool. They don't know a lot of brands. They're still really obsessed with Tommy Hilfiger, which is great.
You're like, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, have at it. And they do put some stuff online, but some hits the store. But we're in Indy, and there is nothing. And everything that's on the racks is just poor quality. It's just, for lack of better words, it's crap. And I'm just thinking, even not as a reseller, if I really like to go and thrift and wear used clothes, if that's your thing, I wouldn't this is awful. And it wouldn't make me say oh, I'm going to go see what they have online because their store is terrible. I would want a little in the store and then be like, God, if this is what's in the store, I wonder what's online. But you go into these stores and you're like, this is all just crap. It's trash.
So have you gone and looked at their online store that they have? Goodwill?
I did once a couple weeks ago, and there's certain stuff that had 1 million bids on it, that was Coach purses that people were trying to buy. But the normal just everyday polos, there's no bids on them. They're just sitting there. And it's how many polos can you have listed? How many people are online trying to source polos right now?
Right.
I don't know. To me, I get it, right? It's a business, but I think they're running it wrong.
What would you do if you were to run it?
I mean, you want to pull the good. Well, here's the deal. My biggest issue is that it's so inconsistent, right? You're marking up Walmart George shirts. Those aren't going to sell at your regular thrift store prices. You don't need to mark them up, but leave a little in the store, like I said, so people kind of are like, okay, I'm going to go check the website because this stuff is great, instead of just absolutely nothing in these stores. It makes you not want to go.
Right. Have you had the pleasure of seeing an item and they've priced it for the exact same thing that it was at the store? Have you seen that before? I've actually seen that.
There were a pair. We went to the thrift store the other day and they had these pink Uggs. And I was like, God, these are ugly. But they wanted $29.99 for them. And I'm like, dang, if they want $30, I wonder like what these go for. Because you think they're looking it up. And, maybe if they go for $120, you grab them. Sold comps were 20 to 24. Like, what are you looking at? Like, at least look it up right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were asking Johnny how he would run it. I mean, I like to think. So, to me, the difference between a thrift shop and resellers and sourcings, I mean, everything's being given to you. So, your cost of goods sold is exactly the same in everything you get, whether it's, a brand name thing, a no brand, whatever it is. Right. So, I mean, I tend to think that if I had it, and I know greed starts playing in, thinking, we could get so much more for this one item. But I just think if you priced everything by categories, regardless of what it was, which is kind of how one thrift shop here in Knoxville used to do it, then they changed management, and now the same stuff sits there forever. But, put every shirt out for $1.99, put every hat out for 99 cents, and you're not having to pay somebody to look this stuff. You're going to move it all through. And since your cost of goods zero, I think in the long term, you're going to make more money because, which is what your mission is. It's to make as much money as possible so you can do whatever it is you need to do. Whereas if you start cherry picking stuff, then people come in and like you said, there's nothing in the store they want to buy. So then they don't ever come back again. Whereas if you don't cherry pick stuff out, somebody's going to come in. Oh, look, I found this, whatever brand name it happens to be, for $1.99, man, I'm coming back next week, and you're just going to end up selling more volume by pricing it that way. I get it.
Have more coming.
A 12 karat diamond ring. Yeah. Maybe you need to do something different with that. But the difference between selling something for $2 versus $20 isn't real. You don't have to, you can sell a lot more volume to easily make up that $18 difference. I get if it's a $2,000 item. Yeah. You may want to pull that and sell it separately, but then you've got less overhead too, because you're not spending your time looking stuff up, and, I say that as here, I'm a reseller. I look everything up, but I'm paying for everything I buy too.
Yeah. And don't
that's
you ever,
the major difference. We're paying for
ever like in a store and you're like, I'm not going to buy any of these, but man, if these were all $3, I'd buy all of them.
Yeah.
And then the other things you have in your hand, you put back because you're not going to wait in line. But if you were going to buy, 10 sleeves of golf balls and 5 shirts, like to me, I think they're missing that. Just going for home runs every time.
And how much stuff do they, I know I peek in the back room at the thrift shop here. They've gotten where they spend so much time trying to look stuff up. They can't process the stuff they got coming in. It just sits back there, So you got the whole just time value of money that, you got stuff sitting in the back that you could be making, $2 a pop on that you didn't because you've spent an hour to make an extra $18 on one item or something.
We've traveled a lot and we've gone to a lot of different bins, and a lot of bins that we've been to are all stuff that went to the store and then didn't sell. And so it goes off to the bins as kind of its last. So you see the Goodwill tags on it. Like ours here, I would say 75% of it is raw donation that they never even went through, which is awesome for us, but it's like you're spending all this time looking up every single thing that comes in or pricing up every Brooks Brothers shirt that comes through the door or trying to, when like you're missing out. Like you had some other stuff in here. Lizzie found a Carhartt jacket that resells for like $300 the other day at the bins. You could have put that in your store for $25. It would have been gone in a minute. You would have made $25 off of it. We just bought it for $4. But you're so worried about oh, this Nike's got to be $9.99 because it's Nike. And it's like, and it's so inconsistent. We were in a thrift store the other day. They had Brooks Brothers shirts for $14.99. They had them for $9.99, and they had them for normal $5.99 shirt price. And I realize it all depends on who is tagging it or whatever, but you're so inconsistent. Why are you wasting the labor money on this?
Last fall, I was talking about, and I'd mentioned this, I was at Ambets, and I found about 15 hats. So I walk up to the lady, I'm putting big old hats on here, and she starts sorting them. And I was like, what are you doing? The hats are $1.98 a piece. She goes, oh, not anymore. She goes, these, which she had, like college, like Tennessee and Florida, whatever. These are $5.98. I said, when did that happen? She goes, oh, today the manager decided to change the prices on things like that. I said, leave it. I said, I don't want to, don't even bother.
And see, that's a great example because, somebody those 10 Tennessee hats will now probably sit there for 3 weeks, and maybe they'll all eventually sell, but they would have all sold the first day, and then they could have had space to put 10 more hats out on the shelf, you know, but instead now they've got, this shelf space taken up that they've got to wait till they all run through, and it'll take forever. Because, and
I asked her, I said, where's your sign for it? Oh, we don't have a sign up yet. I said, so you have a sign for $1.98 and it says hats, and that's where I got it from, but I can't get it at that, right? She goes, that's correct. I said, okay. Yeah. And like you all said, it's their business why they want to run it, but it's all strictly donations, That's the frustrating thing. They're getting it handed to them.
And a tax benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've just gotten, the only reason I even go to thrift shops anymore is just because, I like to go to thrift shops, but I literally go at most once a week. Where I used to go to the thrift shops every day during lunch. I would go 5 days a week consistently. But, I've said it before, if you're trying to do it full time, it's hard to make enough just from the thrift shops. Maybe clothes are easier if you got access to bins and stuff. But with the kind of stuff I sell, there's no way I can find enough stuff. If I put thrift shops, estate sales, auctions together, there's not enough, there's just not enough inventory to make a living. It has to be through some relationships I built where I get calls to go get a bunch of stuff at one time. And, but I still love to go, and it's the thrill of the hunt, I think, what might you find at the thrift shop. So,
but you need a little something, right? Like you need that carrot. Like if you go to the thrift store and you find something awesome, like that's got your next 5 trips are just off of the adrenaline of that one thing you find. But if you go in 5 times and find absolutely nothing, you to Stuart's point, you go once a week.
Right. Or like you said, Johnny, people just quit going.
Yeah.
They just say, what's the point?
And people talk to each other too. Resellers talk to each other, and no, that one's not worth going to anymore because whereas you're right, and on the opposite would happen if you go consistently and you're finding a gem every day. You're going to tell other, maybe. People don't like to give up their honey hole, but still, word of mouth's going to eventually get out that hey, this thrift shop, they price everything by category. You can almost always find a treasure, and then you're just going to roll through stuff, and that's to me, when your cost of goods sold to zero, that's the key to making money. It's just volume. Just keep, motoring through it rather than spending any time worrying about getting a little bit more for this individual item.
Yeah.
So,
and you have these,
Johnny, which is more concerning to you? If you go into a thrift store and it's super neat, or you go in and it's kind of got stuff everywhere, which one bothers you more?
Obviously the neat one bothers me more, but I was thinking about this because I've been annoyed about it for about a week now. I would rather see overpriced than not there at all, right? Because some things will slip through the crack as a reseller, right? Because some things will slip through the crack and you'll be like, I gotcha. But if it's not there, period, at any price, that's when you stop going.
Yeah. And that's Goodwill's thing. Now, with all their online stuff, I don't know how much of the stuff in Knoxville, I don't ever go to Goodwill anymore because I mean it got to be where I'd go and I could go like every 3 weeks and it'd literally be the same stuff on the shelf that when I was there the last 3 weeks.
But they're just like, you have tens of thousands of square feet with these racks that you can't even slide closed because they're on so tight. But yeah, please go ahead and price things up. You're not selling what you already have. Right. And if those things were $1 or $2, you're like, for $1? Yeah, for $1. It's like at the bins. Now I wouldn't buy this, but at the bins I will. Why? Because it's $1
all day long. Right.
And you just move through that inventory because Lord knows there's plenty of inventory out there, and there's more coming.
Mm-hmm.
And what do people do? They drop off their stuff at Goodwill, and then they go park and they walk in the store.
Yeah,
you just replace the stuff they just got rid of. But if
and what's getting ready to happen too. And what else is getting ready to happen too is spring clean out. Everybody's going to be doing spring cleaning, and here we go again. There's going to be another glut that's going to be coming to those stores, and it's just constant for them.
Yeah. Speaking of spring clean out, I guess a guy had dropped off some business cards at one of my antique malls. He owns a junk removal company. I don't know if he's just trying to get started, but that's the kind of thing. I emailed the guy and said, hey, I have a booth where you drop this card off. If you ever come across these kind of items, I said, and you're looking for an outlet for them. I said, I don't know if you resell too, or if you just clean out, but, I said, keep me in mind. So, hopefully that's the kind of thing you need to be looking for though, is, any opportunity. But I mean, if he's truly doing clean outs, he doesn't have time to, in his line of business, somebody's paying him to remove it all. And, right. He may or may not go through it. Although the big junk place here in Knoxville Now West, Junk Be Gone, they have their own thrift store.
Oh, they do? I did not know that.
It's over off. It's where the Carm used to be on Western Avenue, where 640.
Okay.
It used to be a Carm. Now it's called Lucky Day, I think, and it's the Junk Be Gone thrift shop. So, but can you imagine what a sweet deal that is? Your people are paying you to come remove all their stuff out of their house. Then you're going through it and then making more money by selling it.
Yeah, you just take their stuff and sell it. Whatever you don't want, you just either donate it or do whatever else with it.
So
can't you see it, Johnny, this summer? Stuart and I grab a truck.
Yeah.
We're going to come clean you out.
Visit Knoxville.com junk removers. I like it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you guys in some matching coveralls, just zipped all the way up. We had that video that we dropped Saturday morning where we talked about like the indie Goodwill experience. It's not by any means like our most viewed video, but it has the most comments on it that any of our videos have. And
people
we have
that are just frustrated or
one, there is. Well, we reply to everyone, so really there's half right. the amount of comments that it says, but we have like 80-something comments that's not us on this video, and only one person was like, it's resellers' fault.
I haven't been to Carm in a while, but I used to go in there as part of my, I would go to Goodwill every day, I would go to Amvet's every day, and then I would usually hit the Carm on like a Wednesday just to go, because it was kind of I had a thrift shop loop I did. And I will say when Carm, I did not buy as much at Carm because like you said, they price everything higher, but when they miss, they tend to miss big because I would always have my high margin stuff would always come from Carm. They'd miss something, it'd be $8 or something. And, it'd be something I could sell for 75.
Right. Well, maybe I need to start going back in there and Johnny, like I told you earlier, try to see if I can find that item that they missed. Cause every store misses it. They miss.
But which is why it's so dumb that they even try in the first place.
Yeah,
because it just it makes you look silly. Like I said, when you have shirts with 3 different prices, what are you doing? Amazon brands, like all these fast fashion brands, well, they're getting better with their tags, right? So their tags look like they're fancy items, but you can just feel that they're inferior quality. And our Goodwill eats them up and prices them up like it's Chanel or something. It's no, it's literally falling apart on the rack.
Well, that is all the time that we have today on the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast. Gentlemen, a interesting conversation for us today.
I knew it.
It was. Johnny was prophetic there.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so we got our live coming up, everyone. Looks like it's going to be Sunday, January 19th.
Mhm.
Probably, we don't have a time set in stone yet, but probably maybe 8 o'clock, sometime around in that range. Might have a few special guests pop in, so looking forward to that. I feel safe to say now we're at 208 subscribers, so surely we will not lose 9 subscribers. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it. I was a little nervous when we were just
Count
at
starts
200. We're just at 200. We're announcing our live, and it just takes one to leave, and we're at 199. But
We're in the middle of the live and we hit 199, so we have to sign off.
Yeah, somebody keeps going, subscribe, unsubscribe.
So I think that means since our last episode, we've picked up 8 new subscribers. So thanks, everyone. 'Cause I think we were right at 200 when we did our last episode, maybe 201. But I know we got to 202, dropped back to 201, and now we're well on our way to 300. And still looking forward to that 500 episode when we get Johnny over here to Knoxville to do a live. And then I think it was 1,000. We're going to Molly's house or something.
That's right.
We're doing something.
So Molly, get ready. We're coming to your house.
That's how consignment chat.
Another 800 episodes, or 800 subscribers, rather.
Whichever comes first.
Either 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 episodes, whichever comes first. So
Here we go, boys. Well, guys, have a great week of reselling, and we'll talk soon.
all
Bye,
right.
guys. Go Bills.